Drag 13 cards over to the Declaration of War deck. Okay, so if you open up the card window, it's the window that has the card symbols with the blue and red on it up there by the American flag.
Yep.
Okay, so you'll see on the right-hand side it says DOW deck. That's Declaration of War. And so the way it works in the pre-war phase is that the players draw one card at a time. The American draws first, then the British, and so on. And each time you draw a card, you can either decide to hold it in your hand or play it. Now, you can only play for operations before the war starts. So you can move troops, you can do things like that, but you can't enter enemy territory, you can't have combat, and you can't play cards for peace because the cards are based on events that happened during the war. Once a player draws the Declaration of War card, then we'll fill our hands with whatever cards are remaining in this Declaration of War deck, and normal play begins. So that's how the pre-war phase works.
Okay.
So I'm the American, so let me draw a card, take a look at it. Oh, good heavens! So if you'll look at the event pile, you'll see that I have drawn the Declaration of War on the very first card.
Now, events don't happen on this phase right here, right?
Well, that phase is over. I just drew the Declaration of War.
Oh, wow.
So so that happens. Well, what are the odds? 1 in 14. So that happens every once in a while.
Right.
Uh, Now, so you'll get to so draw 7 cards into your hand.
From the left-hand top deck.
No, 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 no. From the Declaration of War deck on the right-hand side.
Okay.
All right, then I will draw the last 6. All right. So, because I drew the Declaration of War card, you now basically have the first play, and so you played card-driven games before. You know that the leaders are set up on the top left. The 1 means it costs 1 ops point to activate them, a 2 and a 3, and so on. The generals can move troops. So you're familiar with the movement here?
A little bit. So I can either activate a stack, and I can move that number in that stack, or I can activate a leader in his command radius, and that's what I can activate as far as in that stack, though. But unless I have a campaign card which activates 2 different hexes, I have to activate that one particular hex. Correct?
Right. So here's the way it works. So if you played, let's say, a 3 ops card, right?
Right.
And then let's look down here in Albany. Right, I've got the Americans have 4 units there. I can activate. Let's just pretend Dearborn's not there for a second. I could activate 3 of those units in Albany with a 3 ops card. They've all got to be in the same space if I don't have a leader. Now those 3 units could move separately, but I couldn't activate 1 in Albany, 1 in Sackets Harbor, and 1 in Buffalo. It all has to be in the same hex. Now, if you've got a leader with you, the leader you activate the leader. Right. So again, look down there south at Albany. Look at Dearborn. Right. If I played a 3 ops card, I could activate Dearborn. He's got 3 stars on his counter, which means he can move up to 15 troops by himself. And infantry and troops move 6 movement points. Leaders move 10. So Dearborn could, for instance, slide over towards Sacket Harbor. These solid lines are 1 point, 1 movement point. The dotted lines are 2 movement points, and all the blue arrows basically across water, are 3 movement points. So, Dearborn could pick up troops, drop troops, shuffle troops, as long as he doesn't exceed 10 movement points, and as long as the troops he's moving don't exceed 6 movement points. Right? So, I mean, there's the chance to be able to, tactically and strategically move your guys around, and you get more bang from the buck from the leader there, obviously. Um, There's not normally a lot of naval movement in this first half of 1812 because neither of us have naval leaders. So let's take a look at, for instance, your guys at Kingston, right? You see, you've got a schooner and a corvette there. With a two ops card, you could activate the corvette and pick up, let's just say, the Frontenac unit at Kingston there, and move them as a group someplace. But you couldn't pick them up, move them, drop them off, and move back. You just wouldn't have the movement points available for it. Um, so that is a very grossly over simplistic look at it. You'll notice the numbers and all the spaces here are both their victory point value and their winter quartering value, right? How many units can be in there at winter? So in the second half of the year, you really got to start paying attention to where your troops are. Because if you've got a big stack sitting in Oswego, well, you're going to have problems come wintertime because a lot of them are going to die. So uh, we'll just get to it if you want, and if you got questions, you can ask them as we're going along.
Okay, that sounds good. So American events do not happen unless I
So
want
if
them to.
you no, that's right. If you the British play an American event, you're essentially playing it for ops.
Okay, and we'll move this Corvette here out to sea.
Okay. So the British, I find the marker here. I'll move you up to victory points. You can just discard that card then.
Now, if I right click on it, it says to British VPs. Oh, that's for the event, right?
Just say play as ops points, and it'll throw it in the discard pile.
Well, that's
Yeah.
nice. Okay.
All right. Let me examine my cards, and oh, good lord. Well, this is crap. All right. Well, let's see. All right, I am going to play uh, that two ops card for ops, and obviously I'm going to activate General Hull over here to the west. He's out west here in Maumee Rapids. He's going to move down to Lower Sandusky for 2 movement points, then to Sandusky for 4, and pick that unit up. Come back to Lower Sandusky for 6. Come back to Maumee Rapids for 8. Pick the whole kit and caboodle up, and then they'll all move to Frenchtown. Hull having moved 10 movement points, that stack can go no further. So,
Now that's a move I saw in Gilbert's video, which I thought was
oh,
pretty impressive. Sliding down, picking up, and coming back up instead of overextending yourself. He showed how not to go up into the, how you can be cut off basically pretty easily.
yeah, it's a very interesting story out west here. The Americans, especially the next year, are going to have a ton of troops out here, but most of them are militia. And so, and that's the thing about this game, even though you may have odds, you're going to have negative modifiers in a lot of cases as the Americans, and so you're not going to get that big of a bonus, if you will, and that's appropriate because you really shouldn't have a large advantage if you're fighting with a huge militia force, because it's just not historical. All right, buddy, over to you.
Okay. All right, I'm going to play a campaign card here. And up in the top, I'm going to activate Provost. On top right.
Okay. who else are you going to activate?
Let's see.
Let's see.
And this does become important, right? So the reason why you've got to declare both of your forces is so that you can't announce one and then, let's say I played a heavy rains on it, I stopped your force, whereas I might have played it on the other force. So who's the other guy you're activating?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Proctor. Proctor.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and do Previs first.
Now, heavy rains doesn't come in until next turn, correct?
I believe I'd have to pull my card manifest out, but I think there is a heavy rains card in the pile for this. Well, I mean, we don't know actually what we. Well, I guess I know what I don't know what you drew. So let's see. But I mean, really, as the British, you've got to get troops moving, so it's often not an issue. And don't forget, the infantry can only go 6 phases.
Oh, okay.
Six,
Even with the leader, right?
correct. So basically, I think that'll get them as far as Long Sioux.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay.
All
He's
right,
all
so that
done.
was Travis.
What were you saying?
So that was Travis. Now you've got Proctor to move.
So I probably want to keep Tecumseh with him because there's really not much point in. See, you've got 1B unit. Now, how does combat work? You've got 1B unit. Would he act as the lead in the attack?
Well, I could designate him as my lead. I could designate a C unit as my lead. I'm probably not going to. And so consider this as well, right? So uh, Tecumseh with the Indians is pretty potent force. Um, so if you leave the Indians leaderless, you just got to be thinking about that.
Okay. It's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
And that's it for me. I'll
Okay.
discard. And your turn.
Hang on 1 second. All right, let's see what do I have.
You know, this is such a small and narrow front. It's easy to think that there's not too much to the game. You know.
That's right. The reason why Gilbert focuses on just this area is this is where 90% of all the battles happen during the war was along this front. And I'm looking at my 1812 manifest here. Let's see. No, I do not see. No, there is no heavy rains card in the 1812 deck. But there are in the 1813 and 1814 decks.
Okay.
All right, so let me. All right, so I'm going to play this obviously for ops since it's your event. I'm going to activate Dearborn. And Dearborn
Where's your card?
It's in the. I sent it straight to the discard deck. Sorry.
The United States versus Macedonia.
Yep. Hey, what happened to your units in Kingston? Where
Kingston.
did they go? Oh, you picked them up.
Where's Kingston? Way up near Quebec.
Kingston. Here, you accidentally picked up the 10th RV
Okay.
and the front back. I'll put them back. See where I've just put them.
Okay.
So Kingston and Sackets Harbor are like major important to
Okay.
both the British and the Americans. You'll notice. Let me pull these off of Kingston real quick. You'll notice in Kingston on the fort, it's got 2 green dots.
It's not built to the second part of this year, right?
That's right. So you don't get that +8 on defense in the first half of the year. Neither do I, for that matter, in Sackets Harbor,
Right.
which is right here. So there is some opportunities to potentially do some things there. All right, so I'm running my mouth here. Let me get Dearborn ready here. He's going to pick up this guy, and this guy. He's going to leave these guys in Albany. He is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there, and then he's going to pick up the unit that started uh, in Sackets Harbor, and he goes 6, 7, and that'll be 2 for the 4th New York, and then he'll come back here for 9, and that is my move, sir.
Wow. That was pretty cool. All right. The guys in Kingston are getting a little nervous here.
Well, you look at what I've got there. I've only got 4, 8, 12, 15 total, and some of that I've got to keep back to Garrison Sackett's Harbor so you don't do something to me.
Now, as far as strategy goes, should I be holding back any cards for the next turn, or do you use them all this turn? Or
So you can decide to hold up to 2 cards in between the first half of the year and second half of the year.
okay,
And typically, Charles, you'd only do that if you really had something that was, that you thought was going to give you an advantage in the second half of the term. Because, of course, if you're holding 2 cards, then there's the potential that I'm going to have 2 plays without a response from you. Right? So you got to be thinking about that. Now, in the second half of the year, you can be looking at holding up to winter event cards that can only be played during winter.
right.
And you'll see people do that from time to time. But again, everything's a trade-off in this game. If you're holding cards, that means your opponent's playing cards. And so the strategic and tactical situation often dictate if you hold or don't hold.
Okay, we'll play this 3 ops card. Activating Provost. And bringing him on down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I pick up those units again?
Well, no, they're in there. They're in Kingston where you're at now.
I'm going to leave somebody in Prescott. Okay, all done.
Okay. All right, let's see. All right, I'm going to play that 1 ops card as for the ops, obviously. I'm going to activate the 23rd down south in Meadville. And he's going to move 2, 4. Let's see, 4. He'll stop there in Buffalo. Okay, that's it for me.
So if you tack across that water, you take an automatic -1 DRM on the attack, right?
Correct.
At Buffalo to Fort Erie.
Unless, and there are some cards that will let you attack without having a penalty.
And then I'll get benefit for having the fort plus the 1 that's in there, right?
Right. So your defense strength there would be 5,
Okay.
and let's just say that that was a C class unit instead of a B. It would be treated as a B class unit because your fort is a B class.
Oh, okay. I was trying to understand the comfort upgrades by being in a fort. So if I'm in an A fort, B's become A's and C's become B's, right?
No, 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 no. So there are no A forts.
Okay.
There are a couple of C forts, but the B forts, all the forts, basically, if you don't have any B class units, right? If you only had C class units in there, they would get treated as B class because they're getting the benefit of being inside the fort.
Okay. So we're going to play this 1 ops
Okay.
and bring this Corvette. Oops. What is he on right now? Fort Madden. So we're going to bring him out to control the lake there.
Yep. All right. Move yourself up to 4 VPs. All right. Let's see.
So just going off gut instinct here. The British love to control the water in every game.
It loves to control the water. All right. Having control of the lake is a good thing.
Yeah, I've been hammered in quite a few games by British ships. So.
Okay. I am going to play. I'm going to play this for ops.
Okay.
I'm going to use it. Let's see. I'm going to use that to activate the 6th down in Albany. And you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into Plattsburgh. And that's it for me.
So on the left-hand side there, we've got a Adams ship and a regular Detroit in that hex.
The where? Oh, yes.
In Detroit.
Because if you'll look, I'll pull this off here. Detroit is a lakeside town. See the blue
Okay.
stripe?
Yep, I didn't see the fort.
There's just no real convenient place to put the ship.
Okay. Interesting. Now, only leaders can pick up units on the way, correct? Or go get units.
Correct.
Okay. And Brock in the middle of Lake Ontario there, he can be activated with a 1 ops card.
Let me see. Where? Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to play a 1 ops card. 1, 2, 3.
No, it's 4. See the dotted line?
Oh, yeah. Okay. We'll just pick this one guy up here. So that's 3, 4. And 5. Okay, your turn.
All right. I'm going to play this for operations. And I'm going to activate the Brig Oneida over here at Sacket Harbor. And with that, I am going to activate the 13th. So you'll pick up the 13th. And we're going to come up here for 1. He's going to offload the 13th for 2. And he's going to stay right there with him at Gananoque. Now, what that does is cut off your supply to the west. So everybody essentially from Kingston West is now halved on attack and defense. See what I'm talking about?
Yep. I don't like it.
Oh, that is a nasty little trick that the Americans play, and that is one of the, if you will, advantages the Americans have, is they can get supplied from multiple points, from Mansfield down to the left, Pittsburgh, Albany. It doesn't matter. But for the British, it all goes back to Quebec. So you put some troops across that line anywhere, and now the British have to decide how long can they ignore it before they have to go take care of it.
Right.
In the game that I'm playing with Gilbert right now, he's the Americans, I'm the British, and he has just been hyper aggressive, putting units across all up and down the St. Lawrence line repeatedly, sometimes in 2 different spots at once. And as you can imagine, it's been wreaking havoc with me. I've been conducting campaigns to the west because I can't stop trying to take territory with all of my guys halved, sometimes for 3/4 of a year.
Okay, up in Montreal, we're going to activate Rottenburg.
Okay. Now, before you move out of Montreal, the Lower Canadian militia there has to stay within 2 hexes of Montreal, just so you know.
So we'll move him there and drop him off. We'll just keep him there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and done. must have a really good card or really bad cards.
Oh, no, I was waiting. I didn't know if you were done.
I'm done.
Ah, okay.
Sorry about that.
No, no, you're okay. All right, well, let's see. All right, well, let's see. So from my last card.
Oh, you know, you're right. Technically, he could have moved in for the attack on that turn because he had one movement point left.
That's well, yeah. Of course, Rottenberg had more, but the 49th still had one movement point, and you could have, and if you want to, Charles, please do. You could have picked up the first R Scots and had the 49th with him and came in to Gananoque. Yes, you could have done that.
Where are the first R Scots?
They're underneath the 49th with Rottenberg.
Okay. Yep. So that's what I'd like to do is go ahead and move in for the attack.
Okay, so let's just take a look at what we've got in here.
Okay.
Let me get my shit out of there. Sorry. So I've got 4. You've got I think 9 sitting there.
Right.
So you've got +0 for your leader. Your lead unit, I'm guessing you're going to use the 49th, so you'd be A over B. You get +1 for that because there's one difference in class.
Let me pull up the charts real quick here so I can see all this.
Yeah. So first thing, note that for a 2-to-1 attack, you're going to get a +1.
Okay.
Okay. For the class of the lead unit, your class is 1 higher than mine. You're going to get +1 for that.
I should be on the land combat results table following what you're talking about there, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So if you look down the left side, you'll see a 2-to-1 attack is a +1.
Yep. Okay.
And if you look at that box at the top right, so your lead unit, you've got A over B, that's +1.
Okay.
We already said you got +1 for the odds. You don't get anything for your leader. We're not worried about Indians. I'm not attacking you. You're attacking me.
Right.
No major invasion route, no amphibious, but I am in forested terrain, so your attack would be a net +1.
Okay.
And so, I'll tell you what. I am going to. I'll let you do that. Well, I'll take the attack at +1.
Okay. Now, what was your option there as far as retreating?
Well, so you always have the option before combat to retreat first. Now,
Okay.
I would have done that before we calculated the odds and all that jazz. I probably would have calculated them to decide if I was going to retreat. But in this case, I'm going to stand and fight.
Okay.
Okay. So go ahead and give 2 dice a roll.
Now, if you did retreat, was there any penalty?
No. So that 8 is going to give us an exchange result. So my lead unit gets flipped, and your 49th is going to get flipped.
So I'm at a +1. So is that a defender retreats? Oh, I'm sorry. It's a 7 + 1 is 8. Okay, I got it. And what'd you say the results were again?
Okay, so in an exchange, both of the lead units get flipped.
Ooh.
So your 49th is going to get flipped.
Oof.
Oops, you flipped the wrong guy there.
That's my mouse. That was it.
Now, because I only have 1 unit and I'm defending, I've got to retreat because you can't defend with only flipped units unless it's the first round of combat.
Okay.
Now, just for the sake of argument, let's say that unit of mine was still at full strength, right? It was still a 4. In this round of combat, the second round of combat, your flipped guys cannot attack. So you'd only have 5 factors on the attack. I'd have 4 on the defense. Flipped units get to defend and be counted. Flipped attackers don't.
Okay.
Right? But in this case, I'm going to retreat because I only have the flipped guys, so I can water retreat back to Sacket Harbor, and you are back in control of Gananoque, and all of your units are back in supply.
Now, because I control that lake, is that any problem for your retreat across the water?
Oh, well, by gosh, yes, it is. So that is going to cause this poor fellow to be captured, so he'll be removed from play. I wasn't paying attention to that. Now, this guy can still water move the ship, so he'll come back to Sacket Harbor. But so right there's a good reason why you want to have control of the lake.
Okay.
I can't water move um, or water retreat, and I can't uh, just shuffle my guys around the lake. I'll have to do something about that. All right, so that leaves me with one card, which I'm going to play for ops. And I believe I'm going to take the Vermont Militia over here. Now, let's see, am I going to do that? Yeah, I'll move to Highgate for 2, and I'll move to Phillipsburg for 4, and that'll give me 1 VP. And back over to you. You should have 1 card left as well.
And to hold it over to another round, I just lay it in front of me. Is that the
Yeah,
term?
you just tell me that you're saving it.
Okay, I'm saving it.
Okay. So that's going to move us to the second half of 1812. I'll move the marker. Now, if you'll open up your reinforcement card, see the little tab up on top of the American unit. It says Show Hide U.S. Chart. See that, Charles?
Let's see. Show hide cards. Show hide British hand.
See the American infantry
Oh,
unit?
Yep, I see it now.
Okay, yeah, click on that. Well, actually, you don't click on the American, you click on the British, I'm sorry. So what you're going to see is in 1812, the British don't get any reinforcements. All right, so your reinforcements are already on the board at the start. Now, the Americans do get some reinforcements. I'll place those right now. All right, and then because you didn't make it into Oswego, I get these 2 ships and the 2 ships in Ogdensburg. So beyond this point,
Where's Oswego?
What's that?
Where's Oswego?
Oswego is up across from Prescott.
Okay. And that's typically in the game a goal of mine is to get into Oswego, right?
Well, it's not a bad idea. You know, if you can do it, it is oftentimes worth the effort to give that a shot. Because now the Americans suddenly go from having 1 ship on the lake to having 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Ooh, okay.
And so why do you care about that, right? So the poor Royal George is sitting out there all alone now as a target.
Yep.
Because as far as I can tell, let me see, I don't think your naval leader is on the board yet. No, he's not. So it's going to be real difficult for you to get supporting units out there. So you can take a free move before you play a card on any one of your turns and move units off the lake, out of the lake control box.
Okay. So in order to move a ship onto the lake, if I don't have a leader, which would be activating the leader to activate everything to hex, I could, if I had a leader, activate all the ships in York, but since I don't, I would have to pay 1 ops for each ship to come out, correct?
Correct. That is right.
If I had a 3 ops card, could I activate that stack, or?
Yes, you could.
Okay.
Okay, so, all right, so you have 1 card in your hand. If you go to the draw deck, we're still at 7 card hands for 1812, so draw 6 cards, and then let me know when you're done, and I'll draw 7.
And I'm drawing from the 1813 deck, right?
No, we're still on 1812.
Oops.
So you want to draw from the draw deck.
The top left green deck.
Yep.
I would draw 6 cards, you said?
Yep. You should have a total of 7 in your hand.
I do.
All right, let me draw 7. All right, I've got my 7. Now, in the second half of 1812, the Americans move first. The way it works for 1813 is we'll calculate the difference in VPs, and whatever that difference is, that player gets a bonus to a die roll. The high die roll moves first in 1813. So
Okay.
if you're really worried about that, it's worth rolling up some victory points towards the end of the year. But for now, it's what it is. So let me see what devious things I'm going to do to you here. All right, I am going to play this card. Whew, wait a minute. That was all my cards. Well, I guess it would help if I didn't have them all selected. All right, so I'm going to play, as you can see, that card for VPs. And so I will add 2 VPs to the American total.
Is that the improved defense card?
No, look on the map.
Oh, okay, I see it now.
So,
My screen must be smaller than yours.
What's that?
My screen must be smaller than yours. Okay. Okay, I see it.
So if you get the chance to play cards for VPs, that can be very powerful because they don't ever go away, right? So if you take territory, there's a chance I'll take it back, and you'll lose those VPs. The difference with the cards is, I can't make those points up unless I play cards for VPs myself, or I take and hold terrain, and that poses its own problems. Over to you, good sir.
Okay, I'm going to play this for the event of Tecumseh Attack Supply Lines.
Tecumseh's not in Fort Malden.
Oh, okay. So we'll score this for VPs then. And it is your turn.
Yeah, you can still do that, absolutely. All right, so let's see